You guys thought I was gonna do that shit, right? No, but I'm here. Welcome to the video, and I want to show you guys something that's gonna save you a lot of time with your coach in like future. So it's about the blood tests that you need, and what is exactly something that a coach is looking for when you're doing blood tests, so you could approach a protocol or a cycle and anabolic steroids and everything comes back perfect. So what should you do? I'm gonna go over it. So here we go. Now, for blood tests, the first thing I'm gonna ask you to bring to me is I want total testosterone. So first, click stop, grab a pen, and write everything down, because this is going to save you a lot of time. Especially, there's a lot of websites and a lot of places where you could actually get your blood results and some lab results and everything. So when you're doing this, you need everything I'm going to go ahead and tell you to do, because it's absolutely necessary and mandatory. And if your coach is not asking you for this, that means he's not a really good coach, or he's just going like with the flow. And you don't want to go with the flow. You want to do this freaking serious, and you want to be a professional every time you approach an individual, because you don't know what is his history and his conditions and how it could affect him in the future of his bodybuilding career. So now that you grab your pen and paper, we're ready to start. So first thing, you need to get a lab test, blood test, that states total testosterone. I also need you to get the free testosterone. So not only one, but both. Now, having that said, write this down. Thyroid, TSH. Thyroid, TSH. You're gonna need also for your thyroid this T3, the T4, and remember that the T4 makes the body a furnace when you're in the consumption of carbs. So it's really important that we get this right. So if we have to include the T3, that we know exactly how much, why, and in what cycle it's necessary. Now, estrogen, T2. I need to know the estrogen levels. So by that said, we need to go ahead and find progesterone, Prolactin. And one of the things that people just throw away and don't even think about is cholesterol. And this is one of the most important factors, because it could actually damage your heart, or you could even die if you don't do this right. And we need to mitigate every single side effect that could happen while you are on a cycle. And so in the cholesterol, the total cholesterol is what I want. By that, I mean the LDL, which is always going to be what you want really low. So you want that really low. Now the HDL, write it down, is good to have it high. And that's what we always are begging and wanting, to get that really high and really nice. And there's something that you could use to mitigate these, types of cholesterol levels. And I'll go over it in a second. Now, I also need kidneys. I need a full panel on your kidneys. By that said is the C reactive, the liver value. I also need the prostate. I need the prostate test there. So you need to get prostate blood test, not the finger test, because there's a lot of lacking information. You could do doctors will be doing that test at 40 years old or whatever when it's needed, but it lacks. It's actually way much more approachable and better for you to understand how your body is functioning if you do it with the blood test, because it's more stable. It's like the numbers, everything's just so perfect right there for you. And they actually go that route. So when they do the finger one, which I know a lot of people are gonna be like, I'm not gonna let anybody stick no finger up my nose. So yeah, so do it with the blood test. It's there, it's available, and there's actually websites that, you know, they have it where you could actually send it in and everything. If not, go to your doctor. Now, the problem is that with all of these tests that you need to do in the lab, you know, for your blood to be at a perfect level so we could coach you properly, people would refer to websites and to clinics where they could only give you some of these things, but they don't have them all. Or they'll give you one with like 3 or 4 results or 9 results, but we need the whole jam, everything. When I'm taking in a really serious bodybuilder, you know, for the ifbb or something more like competition prep, I go ahead further and I ask them to do an ultrasound, sonogram on every organ of their body, so we could compare it and every 3 months or every 6 months and see what's the difference, how much it has evolved, if there's any damage, if the enzymes on the SGOT levels and liver are really elevated, anything that we could actually mitigate so that does not happen. Now, a lot of people would not even consider going and checking your gastro, you know, with a gastro, everything that has to do with the digestive system. And this is really easy to do because you could actually talk to the client and ask them, hey, do you have any allergies, any specific concerns with foods? And some, you know, coaches will go ahead and be like, hey, you could have peanut butter and this and that, you know the deal. And then they'll be allergic, something happened. You'd be surprised how many people are allergic to rice, or to like rice bran, or to like anything. It could be a fruit. And it's really important. It's so important. And one thing overall that, you know, after all these years doing this, I found out you guys are approaching bodybuilding. You're gonna go into the real world where you're gonna be with anabolic steroids and doing cycles in and out, starting really low, going up, you know, by the time, and knowing how it works in your body. And most people don't know this, and a lot of coaches don't know it, is that when you, there's a fruit, it's toronja in Spanish, which is grapefruit, pink grapefruit or even white grapefruit. Grapefruit is one of the only fruits in the world that could actually destroy a compound, you know, and the structure. So a lot of people will be wasting their money, and it's so crazy because they don't know that it will just completely destroy the purpose of your cycle. Mitigating when you use other compounds or other drugs or other medicines, you know, to get this guy stable and running and feeling really good and energetic and just feeling overall well-being in life. So it's just so freaking important. Those little factors, the little things are the things that really matter. So when you're doing a blood test, or if you're going into a coach, you know what? If you're serious, you wrote these down, go back to the video, if not, and write them all down. Do it, come back, and be like, hey, I'm ready for you. This is my blood test results for everything. I got everything there, so check them out. And most of these guys, they are really good with medicine. And actually some of them are way better than doctors, because doctors just read books. And anybody could go and get a book and read a freaking book. Anybody. You know, anybody could go ahead and read a pharmacology book. But the thing is, things change in life. Things change, and not every medication you're gonna see is the same thing. It's not. So you gotta be prepared for everything. Even when you're dealing with the heart, everything, advanced life support. I mean, you could go, there's so many things, so everything's updated. You can't stay focused and centered back like in bodybuilding. Is good to do exercise from the 1950s and 1960s, 1970s, because it's what worked the best. Why? Because back then there was no cables and a lot of things that help us really good now. Now for my transformation, I wanted to do something epic, and I didn't have equipment, and we're in the COVID crisis. And before that, I only had 2 dumbbells. So my entire transformation from obese to at 347 pounds, coming all the way down to 170 pounds, shredded with abs, ripped, crazy physique shit. Like, you could do it with no excuses, because if I did it with 2 dumbbells of 45s, and you could just switch out 30s, 35s, 40s, you could do it too. So when you're going into bodybuilding, don't think that you need all this equipment and everything, or that over there, the squat rack, because the most I got there in pounds is 615. And if I were able to get more, and I will soon, or maybe one day I'll get a better one, but right now I'm doing 615 on squats, and I'll do that like 6-7 times, 12 reps, and then I'll add chest with the dumbbells, or I'll do chest with the kids bench press, whatever. But you gotta find a way to make it work, so you don't have to be a millionaire or have extreme wealth. If you're poor, there's ways to do it. Now, there's money involved when you're going into gear cycle. You can't not just transform with 1 bottle of test and 1 bottle of Deca, or 1 bottle of test and 1 of Winnie, or 1 of whatever and 1 of Equipoise. It's not gonna happen, man. There's a lot more to it. You're gonna need at least minimum, put it in your head, in a whole year, maybe $25,000 for a cycle. Now when you're like, oh my god, $25,000, but there's ways that you could actually find those $25,000. So you got to be really critical when you're thinking and analyzing this, when you're going into this bodybuilding, because it's not the same to take testosterone only, because you could get really good results of just 1 gram of testosterone a week of 200 mgs. So you could have good results. But if you're trying to lose weight, there's a lot more that you could use, like L-carnitine, fragment 176, 191, which burns fat. And there's a lot of other components that you're missing. And I always say it's better to have food than gear, because the gear, you could mitigate the doses. But with the food, if you don't have the food, gear works only with food. So you need that food, you need those nutrients, and you gotta be ready for it. And don't forget this, whatever you do in life. When you start a cycle, you must absolutely take care of your heart. So your heart starts first. That means fasted cardio in the morning, and then do the weight training. And keep it separately. But then when you're trying to do a really cutting phase, like really nice cutting phase where you just want to become shredded, include the workout of the cardio with the weight training, because it's gonna make you even ripped, like freaking shredded to pieces, like amazing grainy physique, amazing look. Now, there's a lot of things you could do, right? So on all these factors, you gotta grab a list and make a plan of action. So you're gonna make a plan of action and be like, I need tests, but for how long? I need this for how long? There's a PCT or OCT. Should I do it? Will I benefit from it? I'm still obese. Should I start this? Should I start this other thing? You know, and going to peptides. Learn everything you can about peptides. You could refer back to some of my videos where I could show you a lot of cool protocols I had. And I know I lost this channel, but you know, it doesn't matter. You gotta stay positive. Positive energy. It doesn't matter. When you put the truth out, great things happen. And that's all that matters. You always have to stay positive. And no excuses. So if I did it with 2 dumbbells, you could do it with 2 dumbbells too. And that's how I got my freaking crazy ass shoulders too. So you could get really nice biceps, triceps, forearms. You could get ripped linings, striations, vasodilatation. Like, see that? So yeah, everything is possible, and you don't have to go overboard. So remember, you need the blood test. So we need all these components. So that's the advice. And also, when you start a cycle, remember, talk to your doctor to see if you are allergic to aspirin, because aspirin is so essential, and it's something that's going to save you in the long run. It's going to protect your heart. Because when you're in anabolic steroids gear, you know, the red blood cells start to mass produce. So that means you have like tons of little soldiers working right there, special forces soldiers, just freaking nailing everything, and just making freaking sense out of your muscle. So it's not like when you don't have gear, you only have one little soldier just working on it. So you have freaking special forces right there, and they're freaking manipulating that freaking muscle tissue, skeletal tissue, and they're just ripping it so you can build muscle faster. So when that happens, your red blood cells are so freaking potent that we need something to make the blood thinner so you could actually breathe. And if you're gaining too much muscle, you feel better. You gotta also find out about insulin, which you could touch at the end, like maybe 6 months or 7 months into the scheme. You need to touch bases with, PCT, OCT. I do not recommend anybody in the entire bodybuilding industry to go into PCT, like while you are on cycle, which is called OCT, on cycle therapy, because it just defeats the purpose. If you're building muscle, why would you do that? Because you need the estrogen to freaking, create muscle. And when you put it all down in a way, you don't have estrogen, that means you just wasted money with your compounds. So it's really important. PCT is really, really important. But you need blood tests for it. You cannot just tell your coach, hey man, how much should I take? Because it's not the proper thing to do, man. I could tell you to go ahead and take anastrozole, letrozole, Nolvadex, cabergoline, so many, man. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. What if it's stable? What if you don't have sensitive nipples? What if you don't have any gyno? I did really, really high dose cycles. Way more intense than Boston Lloyd did. Like super intense. You guys will hear on future videos with Dr. Tony Huge. I exposed myself completely. I told the truth. But I was really scientific about it. And I did it for the research and for the bodybuilding community because I wanted to show the world that everything is possible, even high cycles. Because you can get away with a lot. Is it the smartest thing to do? No. You got to start like I did. Go low and then go up. So what's the best cycle for you? Starting. You're going to start up with testosterone. Just 1 gram or 200 a week. And see how that goes. If you don't have any sensitivity to any other compounds, go up and keep going. But always keep your test low. I'm really like, you know, hardcore on that. Testosterone, you need it to make you feel amazing, get cut. And you could find ways, better ways to use it, but it has to be like when you're missing like anavar, that you could use more to like kind of, you know, twitch and create, you know, the compounds that you're wanting to have in your system, which is amazing when you know how to, you know, just structurally devour this component and this element and just create something else amazing. So critical thinking, logic, reasoning, like I always say, and just stay focused, stay motivated. Don't give up. Don't give up. And remember, write it down. That's the blood test that you guys need to do. And if you're serious about it, do it right. And be like, hey dude, boom, I got it. What's up? What's next? What's the protocol that we need to do for this month and the other month? And go weekly basis. Touch bases with him. He should be able to respond to you correctly, tell you what foods are good, what's not. And the most important part of all, and I'm going to end it right here, your blood type. He needs to understand how the body reacts with certain individuals and blood types. It's so different because the diets are just way off when you give someone a diet and their blood type is something else. So the blood type means a lot with compounds and with the food. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, leave me a comment below. Tell me what is the next topic or next protocol you want to see, something that I might be able to help you. Go into my Instagram at fitnesseli and ask me anything there, anything. I'll answer everything right there. So thank you so much and good night. You guys know I'm out.